And we are live on the SideQuest, your fantastic weekly, sometimes twice a week, sometimes once a week, who knows anymore, journey into the world of video games. As usual, I think I'm still Dolly Demovsky. I can never tell anymore. Joining me to whatever direction I'm pointing in this way is the one, the only JJ Holder.
It is back. I missed last time because it was the Royal Rumble, and you expected me to miss the Royal Rumble.
Did not want you to miss the Royal Rumble, but we forced it. Yeah, and it's funny because we were trying to make it a shorter episode, just kept running. Yeah. Didn't want to compete with Vince McMahon though. We ended before the actual Rumble started, so that's good. And just below me in the camera here, Sam Dixon.
Hello, friends. I did not watch the Royal Rumble.
You were the Royal Rumble.
That's what they called me in high school.
That's awesome. Sam, the Royal Rumble Dixon. And today we have very special guest, Josh Silverman, a.k.a. Bear Punch. If you want to search for him on the Twitters at Bear Punch. How you doing, Josh? Welcome to the show.
Thanks. It's really great to be here. And yeah, that's where you find me and talking about stuff. And
Awesome. Well, one of the things we want to do with SQ on the podcast here is get more folks that we interact with on social media and friends and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, you know what? There are a lot of cool people, and people are sick of looking at us three and Aaron and Zach. I'm like, let's get some fresh faces on here because everybody has great stories and great conversation.
Look at Sam. Sam stopped putting his he's just a blank square down there.
Yeah. He used to be Mr. Rossetti in his pictures, but not anymore.
Nothing fresher than this glowing visage.
Well, Josh, tell us a little about you. First of all, at Bear Punch is where we can find you on social media. But tell us who is Josh Silverman?
No, I mean, I am. Yep, I am a PR person. I've been working for Stride PR, doing indie public relations, marketing, dabbling a little bit here and there in social media and influencer management kind of stuff. For going on close to a year and a half now. Did some contract stuff and freelance stuff before that, but most people know me from about a decade of running a podcast network called Constant Calibrating, where originally started a show to talk about Mass Effect and Mass Effect 3 specifically, that just, if you can't tell by the name of the show, and then it just kind of transformed and literally was my entry into the world of the game industry and whatnot.
That's awesome.
And yeah, now I'm just in the process of launching a brand new network as well. So going to be doing my indie PR stuff and all that kind of stuff while also getting to talk about games that I don't directly represent.
What's pretty funny is I started following you because of Constantly Calibrating, and then all of a sudden emails started showing up in my mailbox. I'm like, wait a minute, I think I know that guy. I'm like, wait, it is you. It's pretty funny. It's the video game industry is really bizarre in that, at least for what I've noticed is that like we, and obviously like the three of us do this as a sort of a hobby. We're and I'm like dabbling in some game dev stuff, but that's just if I have free time. But everybody is, it's more horizontal, I guess you could say. It's like, okay, devs, also anybody named Dave. Devs interact with podcasters, interact with PR, interact with streamers and fans. You can kind of be all of those all at once because you love games so much,
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of room in this industry for people to do multiple different things. And that's what I kind of like. And I like the job I'm doing right now where I can do my PR stuff and then, I can still kind of do some dabbling in podcast stuff as that's cool. Got to figure out what the lines are on things because I talk about and represent games, but it's been a fun thing to figure out over the last year or so.
I think it's cool, and the kind of the talents that you pick up from one, the skill set you pick up from one, you can actually start to apply in different ways into other aspects too. So,
I mean, I was starting off podcasting, I was an introvert who was terrified of people, could not imagine going to conventions, didn't like talking to people. Marketing was something one person once told me, hey, you might be good at that because you can talk about stuff endlessly. And I'm like, nah, that's not me. I can't talk to people. And then over years of going to events and podcasting, I actually am way more extroverted than I realized. And I really like these things. And then just picked up the skills doing podcasting of interviewing people, writing press releases, all those kind of things. And now I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh, that actually also gave me skills of like creative writing as well. And it's like, it's wild the stuff you pick up doing like these various different things that just one day you're like, I can't do X thing, like I picked up graphic design stuff very loosely from podcasting, right? And then a few weeks ago, I'm writing this little like this fantasy story, and I'm like, I really need a map to visualize. And then I looked up online how to make fantasy map, and I'm like, oh, this is too complicated. An hour and a half later, I'd made a fantasy map.
Oh, sweet.
Because I had enough rudimentary Photoshop skills to put that together from years. So it's wild the stuff you pick up that you don't consciously notice you're picking up.
It's so true. It's so true. I mean, we like all of us have like these weird different stories of how we got involved. Like a bunch of us met over in the joystick. Joystick. We met in the joystick, literally following. We tell this story a lot. We were following the joystick podcast and reading the joystick blog, and that was it. And like the fans of the podcast, we created our own dumb little fan podcast and our own little fan group, and got to know each other. And then out of that, I thought, well, I love listening to this podcast, and I was on it a couple times as a fan. Maybe I can start my own gaming podcast. And then I'm like, well, crap, I have to have a website for a gaming podcast, so I better learn how to write. And I'm like, if I'm going to write stuff, and companies are now sending me like review copies, I'm like, I better finish up the review copy of My Baby 2 for the DS because they sent it to me. And so now all of a sudden I got to go to E3 to talk to the PR guy, and now all of it, it really is sort of this lateral, like you start picking things, and that's the fun thing about this industry is that you can definitely be specialized, and you can go to school for certain things definitely, but then at the same time you are kind of picking things up, and you got a little bit more confidence in finding your way. Maybe that's the best way to say it. You're much more open to and getting a little more confidence to like try a couple other things here and there, at least pick up a couple other things here and there. So.
Well, yeah, and like what I always think about, and this is not, just to be abundantly clear, this is not any negative said about any particular position I'm about to mention, but how many times have you been friends with someone who started in QA or a community manager who 2 years later they're a narrative designer,
right?
Totally. Or and then 2 years after that, or like journalists, how many times has somebody been working for Game Informer or something, and then 5 years later they're creative director on a major AAA game? Because a lot of these skills we develop across the whole entire industry really has so much crossover to it in what you could do with it. And then also the thing you always hear game industry Twitter say, it's a big industry, but there's a small amount of people kind of thing. It's like everyone, you're no more than 2 degrees from pretty much any person in this industry, no matter how high or low they are on the totem pole. So networking just works so much more naturally than almost any other entertainment industry.
Oh man, networking is, and I can't wait till we get our E3s and our PAX is back so I can see people in person, because that was networking is what got us. I think networking actually helped in a weird way, helped the video game industry way more than people realize, because developers got to know each other, people got jobs, creative folk got jobs, and then they found out about PR. I was literally at an E3 speaking to a young actress. Hey, Stefan says hello. Bam, Stefan. Speaking to a young actress who wanted to get into video games. She had done like very brief motion capture, and we met at like some E3 party. They'd opened up the E3 party. Everybody, she kind of made her way in, and I just so happened to be standing next to a friend of mine who was doing PR for an upcoming game. I'm going to leave names out of it. Doing PR for an upcoming game, and kind of a mid-level game. And she said, well, hey, I'll get you in touch with, as this actress telling me her story, the PR person says, hey, let me get you in touch with someone in case they ever need you. Now I see this actor, her name is like, she's like featured in some video game. And I'm like, that is so cool. They actually took her. And I'm like, I'm not that I was definitely not like the connection there, but that stuff happens at these events where like careers and creativity is so awesome. That's why I love the game industry. It's gotten bigger because people have been so open to working with each other, even like across companies. And I mean, you'll see like Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox folks all hanging out at a bar, talking shop, and loving, because it's all about games, all the stuff they love, and they're like, yeah, leave the fanboyism behind, over there, but let's talk about all the coolest stuff. So yeah, games are great. So
For sure.
speaking of games, we generally get into some news. We sort of flipped how we do things. We used to go right into what we've been playing, but then we got into news. Let's do news first, and then we have a little bit more time to talk about what we've been playing, or at least gauge the amount of time we have to talk about what we've been playing. And the news I want to get into is the shirt that you're wearing right here.
Oh, I also have a jacket right
And
here
he has
because I
a
get
jacket. I
cold.
got my sweater over there that I use for jogging. We finally got our Mass Effect Legendary Collection news. And
Also my phone background.
Perfect. See, stuff. Coming at May, is it May 18th?
I believe so, yeah.
May 14th. May 14th.
14th, yeah, okay.
My
Mass
birthday.
Okay, all right. Well, we're all going to chip in and get you mass. Hey, Mr. Electronic Arts, if you're listening, Mr. Arts.
I want the helmet more than I want the game, though. That's sort of the.
It is also coincidentally a day that I'm getting sick. Just putting it out there. I've already told my manager that I don't feel like I'm going to be feeling well that day, and
I might have to take that day off as well, you're going to have to take like 2 weeks off to get through all the content, because you get all 3 Mass Effect games, almost all the DLC. I think there's only one piece of DLC.
Only one.
Yeah. That's because oddly enough, that was because the code was lost. Which is just, that happens. It happens all the time in games. They would have had to literally rebuild. What was it? It was the
Pinnacle Station.
Yes, thank you. And there's no multiplayer with from Mass Effect 3, but that's the only cuts that were made.
I have a theory, by the way, about why there's the multiplayer. But okay, I was gonna say for later. But yeah, my theory is that we already know they're making another Mass Effect. Like, that's a given. I'm just assuming that they're going to add multiplayer to that game.
Sure. Yeah.
And my theory on that is it's going to take levels from 3, Andromeda, and brand new levels.
Cool,
and they're going to. That might just be because I have Hitman 3 on the mind, and they obviously Hitman 3 lets you bring the levels from all the previous Hitman games of this current generation of them. So that might just be why I'm thinking that. But my theory is they're going to have some stuff from Mass Effect 3 and Andromeda's multiplayer in the next Mass Effect game. So why have 2 concurrent Mass Effect 3 multiplayers going on, or actually 3 by that point?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Andromeda had multiplayer, right? Or no?
Yeah, it was nowhere near as popular as Mass Effect 3's was. I mean, Mass Effect 3 is still played. I think Andromeda's has been dead since. Okay. I think I've not looked into it, but I believe it's been pretty much a dead thing for a while.
Dan says he's looking forward to dive back into the original trilogy again. I don't trust BioWare to recapture that magic in any sequel. And it might be the that Stefan says they lost it with Pinnacle Station. Oh yeah, the backup. That's what it was. It was corrupted. Which, guys, listen, folks out there, get a good backup solution system. We're not sponsored by anybody. Get some cloud backup or something figured out. But no, I looked through the pantheon of all the game series that I love. The game that got me to buy an Xbox 360 was all the stuff they showed for the original Mass Effect. When I saw that, I thought, future role-playing game, this is what I've always wanted, right? I've always wanted a role-playing game set in space. You didn't really have too many great ones. I mean, you had like Star Ocean, you had some other things, but this was like the space that I loved. And when that game came out, and it's a space opera, which is what I love, it was this genre that hadn't really been touched by games before. The plot is fantastic. And then Mass Effect 2, of course, the Empire Strikes Back version of Mass Effect. Mass Effect 3, through its many, the only thing I do wish that they would have allowed, like, the original Mass Effect 3 ending and then the updated Mass Effect 3 ending should have been snuck in. That would have been pretty funny. But but I absolutely love the Mass Effect. I didn't realize it until recently how much I actually loved the Mass Effect trilogy. Like, I'm gaga for Mass Effect. It's so good. I have Andromeda. I haven't played Andromeda yet. I think I'm going to play it just so I can get out of the way. I did like there were 2 Mass Effect games on mobile that I played. Did you guys ever play the mobile games?
Yeah. There was one that came out before Mass Effect 2. I don't remember the name of it, but you played as Jacob, and essentially gave you backstory about Jacob and Miranda. And I forget what the other one was.
I think the other one was Infiltrator. And that was more
Yes.
that was more of like, I think that was like actually 3D.
Yeah, it
The
was a
other one-
3D. Yeah, because the one with Miranda and Jacob was like a kind of top down sort of thing, and
Or
the
that-
other one, Infiltrator, like never worked on a phone for me, so I never got to try it.
I think I bought a new phone just so I could play that game. But and then there was a Mass Effect movie, which I forgot that I had.
Oh yeah.
I had
The quasi anime, yeah.
And then I realized that I'm like, oh my gosh, I read all of the I forgot that I had read or listened to the audiobooks of all the Mass Effect novels. They were fantastic. There was some great work done. I didn't realize how much of a sucker I was for Mass Effect. I freaking love. And so May 14th, getting all that stuff and all the J.J. Abrams, sparkle light, sun glory.
Mass Effect always had lens flares.
Yes.
Been saying this all week. People forget, but the original Mass Effect came out in 07. J.J. Abrams' Star Trek came out in 09.
Yep.
When J.J. Abrams' Star
Trek may be influenced.
When that Star Trek came out, there's a scene in that movie where they are diving from space, doing a space dive down to a planet. It sounds and looks exactly like Mass Effect. It literally is a straight rip. And I thought that in theaters.
Lens flare in sci-fi makes a lot of sense too. I mean, like it's like visually, I get that. It's when you're terrestrial, when you're Earth-based, the lens flare stuff is obnoxious. But in space, I get it.
Also, let's just
nobody can hear you. No, I'm just kidding.
we can hear you flare. What was to say? Like, I do think it was a bold choice by BioWare, though, that every single solitary screenshot they picked for the remaster has like 2 lens flare points, and none of the shots from the original have lens flare. That was a bold choice in marketing.
Yeah.
Yep. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm excited. This is gonna be really cool. It's a terrific package and it's great. It's coming out for technically it's coming out for previous gen and then it gets up-resed or whatever.
Up-resed.
Yeah.
On current. I gotta call it current gen consoles now.
Mm-hmm.
But so it's exciting. I'm ready. I'm ready for it. It's gonna be a good May to do it. Dan also says, did you guys play male Shep or female Shep, custom or default, Paragon or Renegade? Let's ask you, Josh, what did you play?
I have the least play time for Fem Shep, but I've played everything. I have 750 hours in the first Mass Effect.
Wow.
I used to just this tiny side tangent on that. But when my wife was in college and I was not going to classes, she'd be gone for 6 hours a day so I would try to see if I could beat the first Mass Effect before she came home every single day. And I did it pretty much every single day. I just played the first Mass Effect through speedrunning it faster and faster.
Oh, you got that speedrunning that game. Wow.
Yeah, I could everything, Bring Down the Sky DLC, all the main missions, 5 hours, 45 minutes, I think.
Stefan says, how many hours listening to elevator music?
God, well, I have 750 hours played of the first game, so
745 hours of elevator music.
I would say about 300 hours of.
What's interesting is they've cut the time down in the elevator, and what's kind of a bummer, I don't know who it was that said it on Twitter, and I realized that there is actually some really interesting banter between the characters in the elevator that I hope doesn't get taken away.
So you have a choice. You can skip the elevator stuff at any time, or you can actually sit through it, and it's the exact length of the banter. And also some side missions did unlock in the elevator sometimes, but there's more that can unlock in the elevators now than previously. To finish answering that question, I played as both. I play Renegade more than Paragon. I've always preferred that mindset of just kind of thing. And I have customized my Shepherd for every Shepherd except my Infiltrator, which I went with standard John Shepherd for.
Yeah, what about you, JJ? What did you play as?
My first playthrough was male Shep, and that was Paragon. And at the beginning of this, like Xbox One cycle, I played through when they put the backwards compatibility on there. I started playing through those again, and I did a female Shep through Renegade because I hadn't done that route before. So it was fun just playing. It was like playing the games brand new. It was great.
Cool. Sam, were you ever a Mass Effect guy?
Unfortunately not. I've never. Well, I've technically tried to start the second one a handful of times, and then just have not progressed with it. The first one came out while I was a senior in high school. So I was busy being a senior in high school, and that I think that was like the 1 year. The only games I played was like maybe Rock Band and maybe something else socially. But so I always missed out. I know Mass Effect 3. I wanted to hop on the train too, but then everybody got upset about the ending, and I was like, well, if the ending's bad, like why even start? So maybe during this, depending on when or what's going on in my life when this remaster launches, maybe there's a chance I go back and actually play through it, because it's always been interesting. My brother played it a little bit, and I watched him, and I didn't hate what I saw. I just got too busy with other stuff.
Sure. I was I played as Male Shep and Paragon and Default, because I am absolutely horrible at role playing. And what I mean by that is up until recently, let me just say, and still at this point, I always go for the best. I'm like, I gotta be the nicest person to every character. I've got to make things right with everybody, and I've always got to do the good thing. And that's why I tend to leave characters as they are in character creation screens. And it's horrible for me. I'm really bad at role-playing games. It was, again, very rarely will I actually like give somebody a mohawk in a video game. I think Cyberpunk, I actually did do some fun stuff with it for a change. But even then I'm like, I don't want to shoot that guy. Let me see if I can talk him down off the ledge first. So yeah, unfortunately, I hate to say unfortunately Paragon, because Paragon was a lot of fun, but I'm going to try to do Renegade this time. I'm going to do a FemShep Renegade, to just flip the script of what I was before to have a completely different style of game. But May 14th, it seems like it's months away. It's going to go by so quick, because who knows what we're all going to be doing in the next 2-3 months. We could still be, probably still be locked down in some
probably we're absolutely still going to be locked up.
Couple more quick stories here. I'm just kind of scrolling down sidequesting.com. It's a website. The other big news was was maybe the day before, or that, yeah, I think it was the day before. Google shuts down Stadia's internal development studios, which that actually happened this week. I think they said 150 plus devs were affected. Some will be working, shifting within the company. Others, they were a little unclear as to some of the specifics, but it's difficult, from my opinion. It's difficult to start a big gaming initiative like what Google is trying, what Amazon is trying to do with Luna. Microsoft, people remember when the Xbox first was kind of hitting the scene, people did scoff at Microsoft. Like, come on, dude, stick to Windows and PCs. Don't create your own gaming console.
Yeah. It was a software company trying to become a hardware company, and people were like, what?
It does take a lot of time to develop something, and Google tried something different and tried something new, and it just seemed like they weren't ready for it. The original games looked really cool that they were working on. I guess some that are nearing completion, from what I was reading on, I think it was Kotaku, some that were nearing completion are still going to try to release, and then others are going to be kind of moved around a little bit. But it's always a bummer to see that kind of stuff happen. Everyone wants to say, I told you so, but at the same time, you're like, yeah, but more competition isn't a bad thing.
No.
It's poor Jade Raymond. Just again, just like another year without a game out. She left Ubisoft and just now out of a job again. Just like, oh Jesus.
But again, if there's anybody that can get hired instantly,
it's Jade Raymond. Yeah.
So it's a bummer, but not wholly unexpected, but it's still always a bummer. You never want to see it. Never want to see it happen. But they're still going to function as a platform. Obviously, Cyberpunk ran the best on Google Stadia. So if there's any device you want to play Google Cyberpunk,
I have my controller right.
You got the controller right there. See, it's a nice looking controller. So there are advantages. I'm curious to see where they go for. I'd love to see them go forward with Stadia, where they go the route that Microsoft was hinting at, which was embedding. They want to embed the Project xCloud into TVs and stuff. Stadia should be a part of, Chrome. It should be included in everything.
It's kind of fucking ridiculous that they just launched that new Chromecast thing with the remote and everything, and it doesn't even support Stadia.
Yeah,
Like
right.
it's like,
Yep.
and it's not, and they haven't even hinted that it's coming anytime soon. Like,
Yep.
that should be like, so only one device that you don't even make anymore in the Chromecast Ultra supports the fucking service. It's ridiculous.
I feel like they need to kind of take a step back, take a look at their pricing and subscription structure, and understand what people are actually looking for.
At least they finally got it up and running on iPhone. So like it's actually like that was a big stepping stone that they overcame that could theoretically help them significantly going forward if they're committed to it. But this is Google.
If they're committed to it. This is Google. That's the only thing.
This is Google. So this is like part one of the sunsetting that they always do. It's just like remove some features, and the next thing you know, like there goes Hangouts completely, or
college football is back in video game form. EA Sports. I'm bringing this up because I always like the NCAA football games more than the Madden games.
I like the tweet that they kind of snuck in afterwards. Like, check us out in a couple years when we have more to show.
We'll have more shows. Oh, yeah, you guys did not have anything to talk about. So yeah, for those people that are looking for more football,
two football games a year.
But I think it actually is interesting to see where they go with it. Obviously, the NCAA has its own sports issues right now, and they can. Looks like EA will be able to work their licensing through some of the actual logos in schools as opposed to teams and some of the NCAA stuff. But it could be steps.
How does like Ultimate Team work in this college football game? How do you get Ultimate Team? I don't know, like, because that's their bread and butter. That's what they're making their money on these days.
So in some of the states, like I know here in Michigan, the law passed or is about to pass where college athletes can make money off of their names. So they're in a couple states, I think it's that way too, where, if you're a football player or a basketball player or hockey or women's sports, men's sports, whatever, you can actually license, you can work with your school and you can actually make money off of your hard work. Maybe it's not necessarily students getting paid to play sports, but go out, work hard, get your due, for the work you're putting in. So I think there are avenues for Ultimate Team for that kind of thing, but
if it just has like the dynasty mode from the last NCAA EA game or whatever, fucking all in. That dynasty mode was incredible.
And I've collected the NCAA games. I am a big hometown sports dude, and I love my hometown team. So I have every Madden cover, every Madden game that has the Detroit Lion on it, and every NCAA game that has a Michigan Wolverine on it. So I'm going for I have a couple Tigers players on like baseball games. So yeah,
I mean, like, I'm a lot of the same way. I obviously have the Ken Griffey games because he's Seattle icon. He's been on. There's been some Seahawks Madden covers. There was one PSP NBA game that had a Supersonic on the cover. The
Sonic's name will be back in a couple of years. Hey, one more bit of fun news that JJ, I know you're gonna love this one. Lego has officially announced it's gonna be making a Sonic the Hedgehog set.
Hell yeah!
All in. They had so the way Lego works with their kind of
ideas,
the
ideas line.
They'll put some stuff together. They'll tell their lineup and you can get some cool stuff out of it. I think the Doctor Who set came out of ideas.
Yeah, it's the ideas line is really cool because it is just like fans creating their stuff, and it's like crowdfunding without like a monetary situation. It's like if more people vote on it, then it starts going through the different processes until like then Lego will say, well, can we make it? Like, could we get the license? And then like a couple of times a year, they'll pick a handful of them and start producing them. So you've gotten things like, Doctor Who set, that TARDIS set. There was a Big Bang Theory one. You get the Friends set. Yeah. There's been some Disney ones. There's been some Voltron was one.
Oh, that's right. That's the one I bought. Yep. Got the
Voltron. And then there's others like some interesting like kind of like conceptual ones, like a ship in a bottle or one of those wooden labyrinth mazes that like you tilt and stuff that do all that stuff. And they're all like, there's some really good, like there's a Seinfeld one that got approved that's coming out soon. Yeah, so
it's cool.
It's cool to see them like licensed stuff, because like Yellow Submarine and stuff like the stuff that they normally wouldn't make, but because somebody did the hard work of sort of designing it already for you, and now you get to people prove that they're interested in it, and then because Sonic would probably not be a license that Lego would typically dive at, because it's limited in a lot of ways of what you can do with a Lego set. So you're gonna get like a one-off set, and that's fine. It's not like this Mario stuff that they did where they've gamified it and they can just keep releasing new stuff that way. And it's Mario. Just
make it Big the Cat. That's it. I just want a Big the Cat Lego set.
You want the Sonic Adventure sequel set?
Sonic Adventure sequel set. But the actual set that was created, that was submitted, I should say, looked cool, had all the
looks really good.
Yeah, it looks really good. I'm curious. Like you said, JJ, curious to see what actually gets made from that.
That the Robotnik like battle robot thing is a really good design. That's a really good design. I want that to So I'll be interested to see what the final product looks like. Yeah.
Okay. So that's it for the news. I know, and there may have been stuff that popped up today that I haven't.
Well, you had Altman's death at.
Yeah. That was you heard about the thank you. Was it you that posted that?
Yeah.
Was it Robert Altman?
Robert, yeah. Linda Carter's husband.
That was the thing that surprised me most about that thing. When I was scrolling, I saw a random person acknowledge him as Linda Carter's husband. I was like, okay, I have to Google this because that just does not seem correct.
Is that right? That doesn't seem right. Oh shit, that's right.
It's funny because JJ posted in our Discord, and I thought Robert Altman. I'm like, that's So I Wikipedia'd real quick. And I'm like, oh, okay. So wait a minute, that was Linda Carter's husband.
And the guy, the CEO of Bethesda, was Linda Carter's husband.
That's kind of cool. Wonder Woman's husband.
Yeah.
So he was the CEO of Zen. He started ZeniMax back in I think 1999. Founder and CEO of ZeniMax, which of course acquired Bethesda, or all these other companies.
Yeah,
and built
ZeniMax just became a powerhouse of holdings companies, and
So they're rest in peace. There, definitely affected, and now got bought by Microsoft. So in the end, it's the Ouroboros continues. Let's get into what we have been playing. And since Josh is the guest this week, Josh, let us know a little bit. What have you been playing, my dude?
Oh no, no. I've been mostly playing Hitman 3 the last week. I played the first Hitman was like one of the first big like AAA games. And when I say the first one, I mean of this trilogy. It was one of the first like ones I actually got a review code for a AAA game, so it has a special place in my heart. But I only played, I think, through Sapienza, the second level of it, and then I didn't touch anything else or the second game. I just didn't like how long it took to load, but I heard Hitman 3, some really good things about it, and heard also on PS5 that it had super fast loading and stuff like that. So you could, you could save scum and you could like make different choices and stuff like that. So I was like, cool, that is a huge interest to me that I could just keep hopping in and just messing around. And I was fortunate to get a code for it. So yeah, I've been messing around with Hitman 3 a lot, and absolutely, I would say devastatingly in love with the game, to the point that I found physical copies of Hitman 1 and 2 for PS4 because it's way cheaper than buying their DLC thing. I found brand new copies on eBay for physical, and I'm going to bring that over. My plan is just to now play the trilogy inside Hitman 3 because it has just been an absolute delight of a video game.
And it's cool that it's not just bring the levels themselves in, it is bring the campaigns in, which is brilliant.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a complete campaign bringing over. It's all the different DLC stuff if you have that as well. It's everything.
All the escalations, everything. Yeah.
Anything that was not a limited time thing. So, you don't get to kill Sean Bean again. Though I would not be surprised if they bring some of those. I would not be surprised if some of the celebrity escalations get brought back in Hitman 3.
Yeah. They haven't really talked about those like limited time, those contracts too much for Hitman 3. So there's probably a surprise around the corner.
I would not be surprised. I saw something posted earlier today that Greg Miller retweeted.
Yeah, they're doing with kind of funny crossover.
They're doing a kind of funny, and then Min-Max is also getting a crossover in Hitman 3. So I was like, that's pretty cool. Actually, I was really like, kind of funny is cool, but kind of funny is massive. Seeing Min-Max get the rub for it is actually really cool because they're bigger, but they're smaller size.
Well, I'm happy to announce breaking SideQuest. No, just kidding. That would be pretty wild.
I would love to be just like an NPC in the Hitman games. Just I want Agent 47 to like steal my chef's costume. I'd be honored.
I just want to be like have one line of dialogue. I'm just the guy sitting on a bench in random level. I'm like, should kill that motherfucker. Responds like that's just like one line of dialogue off in the side. Only vaguely sort of hear.
Yeah.
Otherwise, in the playing thing, I can't stop playing Marvel's Avengers.
Okay.
And I love that game, and I'm in the
I'm with you.
middle of my first playthrough of Persona 5 Royale. So,
Oh, cool.
you know, that's
a lot of Persona fans on the site. It's what's interesting about Marvel is I bought it during Black Friday or like the lead up to Black Friday, whatever. I'm like, all right, JJ, I finally got Avengers. You know, I'm gonna jump in on this, and then I realized I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna have to cut because at the end of like the holiday, right around Black Friday, I thought I'm gonna have to cut one or two of these games because I will not. The running gag with me is I amass a huge backlog of games and I'll stick with like Octopath Traveler for 140 hours for no reason whatsoever. And when I could
2
be
months worth of podcasts.
2 months worth of podcasts, I got sick of me. Let me tell you about Age of Calamity, and so it's. So I thought, I'm gonna have to cut one or two of these games out. So Avengers took the cut there, unfortunately.
We could have played Avengers together, and you've disappointed me again.
I'm hopeful. I have to manually cross. Fingers crossed that I can get through a couple of these games. Then I never will, and then I'll be able to get to the Marvel Avengers. Persona, it's. I'm still waiting for the Switch version. No, I started P4G. I had that on the Vita, and it was just so good. And I just couldn't get too far into it because I picked it up at the end of the Vita's life, and right when all the other consoles were like getting hot, PS4 and Xbox One were getting hot and heavy, and I thought, I gotta put to bed one of these gaming devices. So I'm like, I sold the Vita with P4G. I wanted to make sure it went to a good home, and the guy that got it was he was just so happy. He's like, I've been looking for Persona 4 Golden for a long. Oh my god! I'm like, all right, dude, here you go. I'm still charging you double, but here you go. So,
yeah, I've never played a Persona game. I wanted to kind of thing. I have the original version of Persona 5 that I bought on sale at some point during the PS4 cycle, and then I just like I don't know, end of December, I was like, you know what? I picked up Royal for like Black Friday for like $20, kind of thing. And I was like, screw it, let's jump into it.
Yeah.
Persona is a franchise that is perpetually always on sale for $20, no matter what new game is or whatever.
I mean, it's also it's everything
to pick up and get into.
That's also every Ubisoft game that's 6 months old or older. I don't mean that like that's just literally anytime somebody says to me, hey, are you picking up the newest Assassin's Creed, the newest Watch Dogs, the newest this? I'm like, it released in November. I'm like, I will pick it up sometime between February and April if it's a November release because the gold edition will spontaneously hit about $27. Which is the sweet spot.
Nice. That's what I got to aim for as well. Definitely. JJ, what have you been playing, dude?
More Hitman 3 as well.
Excellent.
I will say that Dartmoor Manor by itself is just game of the year. Like, just that one single mission is so fucking cool and complex. Like, there is this murder mystery going on in the background that you never have to even see if you don't want to. But then, like, you can get involved in this murder mystery and solve this murder mystery. And you can also kind of like, you realize there's a murderer in this mansion, and you can kind of use that to your advantage too. Like, this person's trying to kill this lady, and you
could just let it. Yeah, I read a whole piece.
Yeah.
I read a whole piece that Jeff Grubb wrote about it because I just played through it one time and solved the murder as it were, and just went on my way, kind of thing. But I read his piece on it. It's like, oh, I guess I could have just let the murderer just continue what they were doing, murdering their way through the house, and that also would have resolved the I was like, wow, that's fast. No, that level's amazing. I'm currently obsessed with the following level in Berlin.
The Berlin level. The way it's presented is so cool. Like,
well, because every other level you are keeping spoilers to a minimum. Every other level, you have a handler who tells you you are here to kill this 1, 2, or 3 targets.
Yeah.
Berlin is a case where you are just set into the world and you're told there's X number of agents here who are trying to kill you. Have fun.
Yeah.
And the goal is you have to kill. You find that after you kill like 2 of them, that you have to kill 5 of 11 agents.
Yeah.
And it's a super vertical level.
Yeah.
There's some outside, but otherwise it's just a super vertical level.
Yeah.
So, and then once you've killed one of them, then subsequent playthroughs of the level, they'll be highlighted in red, kind of thing. So you can do more and more as it goes. I've been obsessed with that level. I've played through it 7 times in a row now. I haven't gone further in the game.
There is an achievement for killing everybody, which because after you kill 5, it's like, okay, everyone out. So you can, like, there's an achievement for killing them as they're trying to escape, which I don't know how I'm going to pull that off, but
on my first playthrough, I got 10 out of 11, and I've never come any closer than that. And it was just purely instinctual. Like, I'm like, okay, how am I going to exit this level? Oh, there's a lot of people running around, and they're running kind of towards where I'm at because I was near, it turns out, the exit point, and I happened to be in the bushes, and they all ran to the bushes I was in. So I just pulled out. I happened to have I think it was a silenced machine gun that I got from someone, and I just unloaded on 6 people running, or 5 people running past me, and then I spent the next 10 minutes like, okay, where's this 11th person? I never saw them.
Yeah, and it's cool when you go in. You know how usually you can go into your like Hitman vision, and they're highlighted in red, and you can find out when you go into that mission, it shows you nothing. You have to find these people. You have to hide and listen for radio conversations and stuff. And it takes the Hitman formula from this particular generation's series and just sort of like strips away what you're used to and comfortable with. It is one of the like back to back. You have Dartmoor, which is like not a Hitman game, and then you have the this Berlin nightclub mission, which is just like. It's so good. It is such a good game from start to finish. I absolutely love it.
I'm just so jealous of everybody enjoying Hitman. I am so jealous just because I know I can't get to him right now because I'm just afraid.
And I can't explain enough how you have to do the escalation missions. They are all so good, and they really, really test you. They really test your abilities because it makes them, it starts off with an easy task, and then you go in again and it adds another task and then another task. And sometimes it's like what you have to do is find this person and incapacitate them with a shovel. And then it's but now you have to incapacitate this person with a shovel wearing a specific costume or whatever. And sometimes it doesn't make it easy because like you have to get a hacker costume and you're like, where the hell do I get the hacker costume from? I'm nowhere near that. So you have to like explore these levels and really learn the layout. And sometimes they'll do stuff where they'll like remove items that you're used to being in certain areas and they'll just get rid of them. They'll have like wild card escalation parts and stuff. And it's what keeps the game going. Like they're so good. And, people make contracts as a section where people have just created their own contracts that you have to do and stuff. And it's a game that I've been playing it since it first came out and it's been nonstop. It's a game I've always gone back to with the first one. And now we're in the next generation and I'm still going to be playing it in perpetuity. Nice. So yeah.
Excellent.
So I picked up the PlayStation Plus freebies this month for PS5. So playing another I never played the DLC of Control.
Okay.
So, the Ultimate Edition, but now it's on the PS5, so I have to beat the game basically again to access the DLC.
What's sad is and I never finished Control. I really liked it, never finished it. Yeah. And I restarted playing it again on the PS5, my PS4 version, but the save doesn't transfer over, and I'm so far into the game, I'm like, I don't want to restart. Because I've already beaten it, I've just turned all of the assists on, so it just makes me because it just access it. It gives you auto aim and it makes you invulnerable. You can't die. Quick recharge, quick reloads and stuff, like reloads of your weapons and stuff. And I'm just kind of powering through it and sort of experiencing the game again. And I still really like the game. You're probably already farther than I am. So.
As a person that's a huge fan of the SCP Foundation, it's just one of those things I just absolutely love. what this game does. The DualSense stuff is weird.
Is it?
Yeah, because you feel every footstep she takes. Every time you it's doing its little like vibrate through the controller, like every footstep, everything, and it's got the triggers that the clicky, like you're pulling a trigger of a gun stuff and stuff. But it's just weird. It's like every footstep. It's like the playground, Astrobot's playground.
That's a good question by Stefan. I'm curious how much of the DualSense stuff drains.
It's killing the battery. Yeah, I always throw my controller on the quick charger at night, so I never really have too much of a problem with battery life because I only get to play a couple of hours a day anyways, and then I put it on the charger and go about my day. But
I had accidentally left the DualSense on the coffee table. I forget what game it was I was playing, and I ran to get some get water or answer a phone call or something. And while I'm like downstairs, I hear just this incredible vibration up our coffee table where it's kind of hollow. I just hear this this like loud, it like banging almost. I came running back upstairs. I thought someone had shot the house. No, it's just a DualSense vibrating from whatever I'd forgotten to pause on the screen. I'm so used to holding, double tapping and holding the home button. You can't do that anymore.
Yeah, there's little tiny changes with how the controller interacts with the UI of the system that has still, I'm not completely certain how it works sometimes. Like I'll try to just do a quick to the menu. It's like, oh no, I have to hold it to go home. Yeah, so all that nonsense.
Did you try any of the other PlayStation Plus games yet?
Yeah, I played some of that Destruction All Stars or whatever that's called. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's a fun little game. It's clearly, I think they anticipated it to be like Fall Guys and Rocket League, where it was just going to come out and it's free and it's this new thing, and it was just going to take the streaming world by storm and everything. Doesn't seem to be the case. Yeah. But I like that game. I like Destruction Derby games, and it's a Destruction Derby game. It's Burnout if it were like, set in like a Destruction Derby arena, and you can get out. Like getting out of the car is this seems like pointless a lot of times, but you kind of just have to do it to like collect gems and get. That
feels like a fun game for me to just kind of pick up on the weekend. Be like, I'm just gonna download it on Saturday or Friday night. Just put a few hours into it and call it. Okay.
It's fun. It's got the cool little like a Carfu kind of stuff where it's like you tip the stick and it does like the side swipe or the shots.
Carfu, I like that.
Yeah, I think that's the official term they used for the car combat in the Speed Racer video game for the movie.
It seems like a really good set of building blocks. Like what's there like doesn't quite feel like there's enough to kind of keep you interested. Because even the progression stuff is all skins, but like most of the characters, it's all just recolors of what the sort of outfits and stuff they already have. There is like a single player thing. They call it the Challenger series, and you can play one version of it for free, and then you have to, as of now, spend money on in-game currency to unlock these other sort of chapters, which unlock like different skins for characters, give characters a little bit of background. I mean, honestly, I played through the first one. It was like maybe 5 minutes worth of story, and the rest is just, remixing some game types. They have like a crazy taxi mode in the single player and like a gate crashing thing. I mean, I don't know if you've checked out all of the modes, but I find that Carnado mode to be the best one so far.
It is. Carnado's the best one. Yeah,
it's 8v8 teams. You're basically smashing, and then before your car blows up, you ditch it into a tornado to sort of bank your points.
Yeah.
So there's some good stuff there. I mean, people, as with all of these like hero games, people don't know how to play together as a team at all. And I like there's one line in Rick and Morty where there's like a bunch of Mortys and they put red X's on their head and they shoot at each other. And then he goes, "Red X, we're on the same team, Red X." And there's so many times I feel like I'm yelling Red X in that game. Because you'll just get slammed into by a teammate, and you're like, dude, you're hurting both of our cars here. Like, you're making it worse for both of us.
It's definitely trickier when it's a vehicle-based game like this, because there are far less context clues going on at times, and people don't really pay attention when they're just jumping in for the hell of it. Yeah.
Blue means good, orange means bad. Smash the orange.
Yeah.
What's interesting is you mentioned that like being on foot. I feel like there are some characters where being on foot makes a lot of sense. and especially just to kind of distract people. There's like gates kind of on the ground where if you run over them on foot, it raises them from the ground. So if somebody's chasing you, you can run over this object and basically they can smash and destroy their car into it, and you get points for that.
Watch Dogs.
Interesting, because I wish they would do more stuff with the on foot, because I think the
on-foot
on
stuff,
foot is sort of reversal stuff of like wall riding and like doing backflips off of walls to dodge cars and stuff is real cool.
And like diving onto the cars is kind of a cool feature. Like you do like a perfect dodge, and then you can like get on the car, and then it's got like a QTE event. And then you kind of get the choice of, do you want to crash the car or take the car? Which is kind of a cool little, if you win the little, struggle of power kind of thing. It's cool. I like that.
Yeah. They mess around with some of more of the on-foot stuff in the single player too. There was like one where it was like basically like a checkpoint type of race, and they forced you out of the car. Well, I mean, they didn't force you. They didn't eject you, by themselves. You had to do it. To get out and like go do some of the traversal stuff, which was fun. And there's technically like basically like Tony Hawk, there's break spelled out like in the environment. And if you get that, it gives your team basically their breakers, which is the ultimates of this game, like right away. And there's like secret collectibles and stuff like that, which I'm not 100% sure what they do. I found both of them in a match once, and it was like, cool, you got 2 out of 2 secret collectibles. And it's like, okay, so do I get something out of it, or what does that mean? It's definitely. I hope that there's enough player base to kind of keep it rolling, and there's some new content and some like new game modes, and they sort of remix the stuff that's already there. Because as I said, it feels like it's a really good set of building blocks. They just need to sort of flesh it out a little bit, and hopefully they don't get stuck in the sort of hero trend of like, oh, we made new characters and a new map, and like that's it.
Yeah. But unfortunately for this game, its like big news story is how obnoxious the headset situation is with this game, because the DualSense controller is your microphone and your speaker for this game. So by default, all of that is on. So, and people don't necessarily know that the microphone is on. So you're just kind of tossed. You're just kind of tossed into these games at first, where it's just people going about their lives playing this game, not realizing that their controller is an active microphone, and the audio is coming out of the controller too. So it's
I heard a whole conversation about what the family was having for dinner. I at least like once every other game I get the, oh shit, bro, I'm bad at this.
It's both fun and terrifying at all the same time. It's ridiculous. I have that microphone on at all times.
Good, yeah.
So
good. I mean, hey, you know what? They announced this game well before the launch of the PS5, and it came out as a Plus game. So I'll give it a shot. Hey, I know one other thing one other big thing you've been playing. Before we get to that part, and I'll just briefly say what I've been playing, which is I'm still playing Outer Worlds, and it's still ugly and getting uglier. But I'm a sucker for side quests in games. I could have been done with the game.
Weird.
Could have been done, but I'm doing all these side quests. Sam, what? Anything else you've been playing besides Destruction All Stars?
So I played through Cyber Shadow since it was available on Games Pass. The new ninja version of Shovel Knight.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very good game. It has the same, well, not the exact same system as Shovel Knight, but it has a sort of modified version of that where they have checkpoints in the game, and they're pretty frequent. There was only really once or twice where I was like, oh, geez, I could really use a checkpoint sooner. Instead of like in Shovel Knight, what you could do is you could destroy the checkpoint, get a bunch of cash from it, and keep going. In this, the way that the cash system works is you get cash or whatever they call it in this, and you can spend it at these checkpoints. Some of them are like, revive your life when you come back to this checkpoint, or just resume with the amount of health that you checked in at this checkpoint with. Resume your mana, or I can't even remember what they call that at this point. And then there's also some power-ups that you can find in the game, and occasionally these checkpoints will let you just spawn a specific power-up that ends up being really helpful in the area you're about to enter. So it's all about like how much of a cool tough guy do you want to be? Because really, there's as long as you're playing, the game kind of gives you enough cash to really sort of spend out on all of them. but you don't feel that at the beginning because you're a little bit strapped for cash at the start. But it's really good. I was playing with my Elite controller and had to change over to like the actual D-pad, because like there are special moves that are only done with like X and the combination of up, down, left, or right on the D-pad.
Yeah.
And that is hard to do with a sort of floaty, mushy D-pad. Like you need like a Super Nintendo style. When you hold right, it goes right button. So that was really good. Everybody that's saying the game is easy is right until they get to about level 5. And then things like all of a sudden just ramp up. A lot of it, like whenever I got frustrated, it was rarely that I wasn't like being good enough at performing the actions required to move me on. It was usually me just sitting there being like, I am better than this. Why am I dying constantly? And refusing to just take my time and realize that, hey, these guys are on cycles. Like you can kill this guy if you wait 2 seconds, but if you just sprint through it, you're gonna take damage, and you're not a speed runner. It is not a damage boost. You're just going to die later. Just accept that you need to slow down.
It's definitely more forgiving than Ninja Gaiden, you know, the game that it's sort of aping.
Oh yeah, I mean you're not spending an hour and then going back to the start of the game if you die out.
Did you see somebody just beat Ninja Gaiden without taking damage, like for the first time ever? Like everyone thought that was impossible for the longest time because of the way the final boss. It's the way the final boss works. When its head detaches, it's almost an unblockable hit that you have to take. But like this dude figured it out, and 30 years later, somebody beat Ninja Gaiden without taking a single hit of damage. Absolutely bananas, and I'm mad that somebody's able to do that.
I can get to Ninja Gaiden all the way up to that last, like the level before the last level, like the section before the last level without taking a hit. Hey, Sam, so I played the game at PAX East in 2019. I think that was when they first had it at PAX East, at least.
That was the first time, yeah.
Yeah, and God, I freaking loved it. I mean, it activated, and I did that in my preview, but and I know like Panzer Paladin's sort of this way, and a couple other games, and Shovel Knight, obviously. But it like activated the not retro, but like nostalgia. Like it actually hit those nice nostalgia feels for me.
It's like I said in my Panzer Paladin review, where it's not trying to necessarily ape the exact style of this type of NES game. It is trying to make you feel like how that felt.
Yep.
25, 30 years ago.
Yeah,
without sacrificing gameplay and stuff. Yeah.
The music is certainly better than a lot of like this style game was back on like the NES. They actually they do a really cool it's all chiptunes type music throughout the entire thing, but then in the credits they take one of the songs that you're kind of familiar with and add like just a rock and guitar like behind it too, and it just sounds awesome. They also have like a really cool like CRT filter, and then not even just a like scanline CRT filter, but they have a bad wire connection filter that you can do. Yeah. So like it just kind of makes it look all grainy and smeary and kind of like I mean, growing up, everybody had that like one TV that they played games on because that was like the leftover TV that your parents upgraded to like a nicer one at some point, and then you just got the one where it's like it's kind of foggy. It takes like 3 minutes to warm up before you can actually play with it, and like that's just what the filter looks like. And it's awesome.
The left corner is definitely discolored.
The magenta, and then your RF the little wire in the RF broke off somewhere within the actual receiver.
Your one friend took a magnet and it never quite went back.
Love it. Every game should have that. Are you playing anything else besides those?
No, I mean, just Genshin Impact as per usual. They got a new update. I think they're adding a pet system here real soon, which would be great. I would love to trade Pokemans in the Genshins. I don't know. That game just continues to be good, and I continue to have like good roles with being a free-to-play player. So, I mean, I'm not going to complain. I'm sure at some point, down the line, it may get to the it'd be great if you could just toss us like a couple bucks here and you'd be enjoying the experience way more. And I've never done that. The only free-to-play game I've ever put money into was League of Legends. And that was a mistake because I almost stopped playing it immediately after. So yeah, I've just been enjoying it. I wish they would just come out with a Switch version that's cross-compatible with the Android and PC version. I'd love to be playing it on PS5. Apparently, it looks great there, but you can't transfer your account still from PS5 to PC and mobile, and I will complain about that literally every time until they fix it. But iOS just got controller support this patch. Hopefully that means Android's
you're going to be getting in 14.5 you're actually getting DualSense and Xbox Series X controller support, right?
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay. Cool, man. Genshin Impact. Nice. Yeah, I haven't started. I have an account set up on my iPhone, but I haven't.
Yeah, me too.
I'll get into it, and then never gonna.
Just do me a favor and log in, and then do like your first couple wish rolls, and just let me know if you get a 5-star, because it appears that that's what they're doing for everybody now. Is you get one good character right off the bat, so then you continue playing and want to spend more money, because there's a constellation system in that game where if you get a duplicate character, you can basically feed it to the character you already have. You don't literally they don't cannibalize.
This is going. Yeah.
But they instead of giving you the character, they give you like this constellation potion, which then either buffs your character in some way or augments the sort of abilities they have.
Sure.
So yeah, it seems like they'll give you one of those 5 stars, and then you're just on your own out there. But they've been doing really good about handing out 4-star characters. There's an event starting on the 10th that like if you just participate in the event, like probably like spend like an hour or two, you can just choose one of the 4 stars that they're offering to just take. And it's it's some of the ones that a lot of people have in their setups, or ones that they've already given out for free. So basically there's one character official, which is a bow character. They've given her out like free about 3 times now. So if you have her, basically they've handed you 3 free stacks, plus then you could get her in rolls too. So they're being very nice when it comes to actually allowing free-to-play players to feel like they're participating. Yes, they sell a battle pass and all this type of nonsense every 30 days, but you don't need it to have fun. I've been playing with my partner, and she has a couple of friends that we've basically suckered into playing with us occasionally. And the 4-player stuff is cool, as long as you got a healer. And yeah, I mean, I've been enjoying it.
Awesome.
That's our weekly Genshin review segment.
It used to be Octopath Traveler, now it's Genshin Impact. Hey, JJ, do you have the video loaded up ready to?
It's not just a video, my friend. I can just live play this thing.
Let's do this. Let's do this.
Did you hear the other big news that happened this week? A game was released onto Archive.
A game onto Archive.
Yeah. There's a new James Bond game that you can play.
But I thought the IO Interactive guys were making a James Bond game.
Yeah, the XBLA version of GoldenEye found its way out to the internet. You can get it on Archive right now.
It's crazy.
It's wild to play this. You can tell it's a G1. You can see it pops back and forth between the graphics on the title screen. You can tell it's like an early XBLA game because
the Sean Bean.
Yeah, it has all of these chunky like the icons and everything. Like you could tell that this was a very early XBLA game, and it's cool. I've gotten through the surface already on this, but I'll just we'll do agent because I just wanted to start unlocking shit on this.
So what is this game? This was
going to be released on XBLA in because I think they started working on this in 2007.
Okay.
So this predates
like a remaster or something of
you'll see. There is, when it's going over this, there's just a button that you can push. When it's doing its flyover, you can just push a button and it pops back and forth between the visual styles. So there's the new.
Gosh, holy cow!
There's the new. There's the old. So and you can do that at any time. Just pop back and forth. But it is GoldenEye. They haven't changed a single fucking thing about this game.
Wow.
It runs
great. It looks like.
it's running at 60 FPS, which is very jarring
Wow.
to play GoldenEye at 60 FPS, especially when you're in the original graphics mode, because it's it's
Wow.
like a Nintendo 64 game at
60 FPS. Wow.
Yeah. And
it's a little choppy right now because the way we're streaming.
Yeah, the way we're streaming it.
Better trust us.
And it plays. It's a dual stick. It's a twin stick shooter. It's a dual. You don't have to worry about. Although if you want to aim, it's still stop and aim. So there's no changing that.
Oh my gosh.
But it all the music's exactly the same. It's just the visuals different. And you can see it's so different.
My Lord, look at that.
Yeah.
Do you know if multiplayer works at all in this build?
It's I don't know if the online component works, but it definitely works by itself in here.
Like split screen would just work if you had controllers.
Yeah, it's all in. There's only a couple of things, like you can't access achievements even though there's a menu item for it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hey, who the fuck are you? Why are you doing that to me?
Because I mean, that would be the reason to go back and play this, right? Because I'm not sure anybody was really chomping at the bit to get through the single player of GoldenEye again.
Yeah.
But like, man, would I love to just go fill a room with landmines and hang out with my friends and hide in those like secret cubbies on a couple of the maps.
Yeah. So the game it plays exactly the same. It sounds exactly the same. They put a lot of work in these new visuals. You can tell, like when you just look off in the distance here, and then you go back to the original.
Oh my gosh, it really is wild.
Come on, and let's see if we can find the let's see if we can find the island over there. Yeah, it's over there.
It's
nice.
like, oh, this is what the game used to look like, and then you flip it. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, my Lord, it was that bad.
barely see the missing island over there, but in HD you can see it crystal clear. It gets rid of all the fog, which makes the draw distance. This is
how we used to play games.
Yeah, this is this is agent mode, so I don't have to go into any of the buildings. You can just leap right off.
Bye. Amazing. Oh my gosh, there you go. Yep. This is unbelievable.
Those are different mountains.
It's a whole different mountain range.
Yeah. It's just so funny to see.
Oh Lord.
So yeah, it's wild that it's so done. Like go to the multiplayer, so you got local and system link. So like multiplayer is here. Like I don't know. I don't know how to do the. Okay, we don't have. Boris.
Yeah. Boris.
But, scenario. You got your modes,
That's
but
wild.
I don't know. I don't have another.
How to get that? Yeah.
I don't have another controller set up, so I might be. Let's learn together, shall we? Let's see.
If this happens, if this takes place, we will have discovered more reason to pick this up.
Well, I will say, if this is the hang up of if multiplayer works here, like maybe I'm going to invest in looking in some paste bin files this evening. But if single player is the only option, maybe I pass on this. It is like completely wild, because I remember when Rare Replay was like a big thing. There was the discussion of, oh, well, where's GoldenEye? Because that's where most people remember Rare from, especially like, I mean, a lot of people on N64, wow.
There it is.
Even forgot like that Perfect Dark and stuff that worked as well as it did, and was a great multiplayer shooter. I think it really comes down to Perfect Dark was rated M, where this game was rated teen, so a lot of kids got away with it. Wow.
And you can switch between visual styles in the.
You can really mess up your opponent if you play that way.
I don't know what. This doesn't seem like this is anything. This map is weird.
Huh.
This isn't. Yeah.
Like walking through walls and.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Maybe messing around with it. I guess there you go. Maybe there's something to.
There's something to there. So does it let you?
Wild.
Yeah, so it doesn't. Level. Let's see if they got all the levels in there, huh? Oh yeah, there you go.
There you go.
So you get So that's. So yeah, where's the facility?
There you go. Facility.
I've got to think
Facility,
that view
normal.
layout thing is a placeholder. And what the finished version is going to look
Comic
like.
Sans to put the...
It literally looks like somebody wrote those letters by hand, like really in MS Paint.
Oh, look at that! Right in front of the
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
So you can do left and right too, which is a nightmare here.
Man, this is awesome.
But, wow, this is
That's it.
So multiplayer seems to be working completely functionally on this. So yeah, this is a complete.
So Sam, when the pandemic is over, you can actually have friends come over and play GoldenEye.
Well, hey, if System Link ends up working out too, I mean, you could I don't know much about the Xena emulator, but I assume they have the same sort of System Link tunneling system that like Dolphin and stuff uses.
Yeah. This is
pretty amazing.
It's the first time I've ever used this emulator. So yeah, that is. I unplugged my mouse so I could play.
GoldenEye, unbelievable.
Yeah. Everything's there. All the cheats still like pop up the same way and the same, completion standards and everything. I'm genuinely ecstatic that this exists. Like, I still love GoldenEye. I still have my copy of GoldenEye.
Sure.
But to go back, and it's funny when the game boots up, you get the where would the Nintendo screen would be. It says, "Do you expect me to remove this Nintendo logo screen?" No, Mr. Bond. I expect you to die.
Unbelievable.
So
That's awesome.
yeah,
that's awesome.
I have to stop this because Xenia doesn't let me just turn off the sound.
Sure.
Itself, so.
There you go. GoldenEye. I'm actually strangely intrigued about this one.
It's on archive. So I had no problems. I just downloaded the thing from archive, downloaded Xenia, and it just boots. Sure. There's no issues. There's no anything with it. Its code name was Bean, apparently, which is great. So yeah. Well, fantastic.
There you go. That's perfect weekend gaming right there. So we're gonna close up shop here. Josh, wanted to thank you for joining us tonight on this snowy here in Michigan. I don't know wherever everybody else is, but on this beautiful Thursday, not for you, yeah, beautiful
not snowing here.
Beautiful Thursday evening, taking some time out to hang out with us and talk about games and N7 Day because it's Mass Effect is coming along. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us, man.
No, it was a blast. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's always good to get to talk about gaming, and any opportunity to spend even 5 seconds talking about Mass Effect is always perfect for me.
Put some plugs in. Where can we find you and get a hold of you and check you out?
I mean, the best place is Twitter @BearPunch. That's where I never shut up. It's where I talk about everything I'm doing. You'll find me talking about either promoting stuff my friends are doing, promoting stuff I'm doing, talking about my kids, ranting uncontrollably about stuff. It's really just whatever is on my mind. It's just my space to just speak out to the world. And I'll usually talk about any games that I'm promoting as part of my job there as well. And then I have a bunch of new podcast stuff that'll be getting announced sometime in the next couple of months. Can't really say anything about it now, other than if you want to hear me talk more Mass Effect, maybe stay tuned.
There you go. At Bear Punch. That's where you guys.
There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, that is the best place to find me. Excellent. JJ, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at _double_J. It's just a real mess to follow me on Twitter. It's just,
but it's great.
It's a stream of consciousness. you can just come on. Corey is currently engaged in an active fight with me because I was talking shit about the Lord of the Rings movies. So that's fun. You can do the same thing. You can yell at me about that.
Do it.
It's wrestling. It's video games. It's movies and comic books are the two things that I will not shut up about. So if you like,
and cool little toys from the late 80s, early 90s that you can fit in your pocket.
It's just nonstop. It's monster in my pocket jokes nonstop.
Excellent.
Yeah. And of course, my podcast, DisneyCompendium.com. I was down with COVID, so there's been no new
anything. Feeling, unfortunately. Yep.
But that's we're the next episode, Wreck-It Ralph, should be out soon. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So video games.
Video games. Sam, where can we find you? Well, on sidequesting.com and on this podcast.
Yeah.
Correct. I will say, so I said it last week and I'll say it again this week because it turns out I may actually have some free time coming up. I am investing on relaunching an internet persona and starting streaming because I have internet not out of a toaster oven anymore. So I will be able to stream. And as I said, that will maybe conclude or collide with my yearly playthrough of Star Fox 64. And then we were talking about Mischief Makers the other day on here too. So maybe Mischief Makers is on the docket also.
Yes.
But yeah, more news to come hopefully next week. If not, hopefully by the end of the month. So yeah, look forward to that.
And of course you can find me at Dolly Domofsky. You can find us at SideQuesting. SideQuesting.com, SideQuesting TV on Twitch, SideQuesting on YouTube, and all the other fun stuff. And hope you guys stay safe and healthy and enjoy your upcoming weekends. Thank you for hanging out with us, spending this last hour. It's been fantastic. And that's it. Hi, Jeff Keighley. We miss you. Thanks for checking us out. I don't know. We'll see you all on the next episode of the SideQuest. Bye, everybody.
Bye.